Good morning, children. I hope that everyone is fine and staying home safe and healthy. This pandemic has brought about a great change in everyone's life, which we never expected of. But we all have accepted this challenge, and the new system of online teaching has helped the students to become more of self learners and understand their self strength. I have seen that some of the students have done really good, and I hope that in the near future, all the students are with their textbooks and they're doing their work sincerely and showing their best in the truest sense. Thank you, children.
Hello students, I am Sandhya Kathuria, your physics teacher. Hope your studies are going well and your learning will certainly improve further. Today we will study lesson number 3 of your book. The name of the lesson is Laws of Motion. Children, today I will teach you the topic Newton's first law of motion and inertia given on page number 60 of your book. Now Newton's first law of motion. In the previous chapter you have already studied the linear motion. Linear motion means motion in a straight line. And you all have also studied that to produce motion in a body always a force is required. A force is to be applied on an object to produce motion in it. For examples, if you have to move a cycle, the cyclist has to apply force on its pedal. In a car, the petrol engine provides the force needed to move the car. To move the horse cart, the horse applies force by stretching its muscles. To move a boat ahead, a force is applied by the oar on the water to push it backward, and the force of reaction exerted by the water moves the boat ahead. Before Galileo, scientists were of view that a force is needed not only to start a motion but also to keep an object moving even with uniform velocity. In other words, an object remains in motion so long as external force applied to produce motion remains present. That means a force must act continuously to keep the body in motion. This view was based on the observation that the motion of a body ceases when the force is withdrawn from it. When the force acting on the body stops, then the body also stops moving. Okay, children, a force is required to start the motion and the force is required to continue the motion also. Examples are, a cycle remains moving so long the force is applied on the pedal. If we stop pushing the pedal, the cycle stops. Similarly, if we turn off the engine of the car stops. The horse cart stops after the horse stops moving, and the boat stops after we stop pushing the oar. But Galileo did not approve the above view. From his experiments, he found that no force is needed to continue the motion of a moving body. If a body is set in motion, it will remain in motion even when the force applied to set the body in motion is withdrawn, provided that there is no other force such as friction etc. to oppose the motion. The body will continue in motion whether you apply the force, whether you continue the force or not. But the condition is that there must be no other force opposing it. From our everyday life experience, we know that when a ball is kicked, it moves a certain distance before coming to rest. In fact, it stops due to the force of friction which opposes it. The force of friction between the ball and the ground. If the friction between the ball and the ground is reduced by kicking the ball on a smooth road, it travels comparatively a much longer distance before coming to rest. If somehow it would have been possible to reduce the force of friction completely, the ball would have been remained in motion forever after kicking it once. Thus it is concluded that in the absence of the force of friction, no force is required to keep an object moving after bringing it in motion. In other words, an object, if once set in motion, moves with uniform velocity if no force acts on it. Thus, a body continues to be in the state of rest or in the state of uniform motion unless an external force is applied on it. This is called the Galileo's law of inertia. So from this discussion, we conclude 2 points. If a body is at rest, it remains at rest unless a force is applied on it. And if a body is moving, it will continue to move with the same speed in the same direction unless a force is applied on it. So Thus Newton put the above observations in the form of a law which is called the Newton's first law of motion. Thus, according to the Newton's first law of motion, if a body is in a state of rest, it will remain in the state of rest, and if it is in the state of motion, it will remain moving in the same direction with the same speed unless an external force is applied on it. Now, Newton's first law can be understood in the following 2 parts: definition of inertia and definition of force. We need to study these 2 parts to understand the Newton's first law of motion. Now, definition of inertia. In the first part, Newton's first law gives the definition of inertia, according to which an object cannot change its state by itself. If the object is in state of rest, it will remain in the state of rest. And if it is moving in the same direction, it will continue to move with the same speed in the same direction unless an external force is applied on it. For example, if a book is lying on a tabletop, it will remain placed at its place until it is placed. Until you apply a force on it, it will remain there only. Similarly, a ball rolling on a horizontal plane keeps on rolling unless the force of friction between the ball and the plane stops it. Thus, the property of an object by virtue of which it tends to retain its state of rest or of motion is called inertia, and which is the inherent property of each object. Now, definition of force. The second part of Newton's first law defines force, according to which force is that external cause which can move a stationary object or which can change the state of motion of a moving object. For example, if a book is lying on the table, it gets displaced from its place when it is pushed, and a moving bicycle stops when a retarding force is applied by the brakes on its wheel. Thus, force is defined as follows. Force is that external cause which tends to change the state of rest or state of motion of an object. And one more point, force is a vector quantity. Vector quantity means it has magnitude as well as direction. And the sum of 2 equal and opposite forces is 0. If 2 equal and opposite forces are applied on the same body, the resultant force on the body will be 0. And the body acted upon by several forces can also have the resultant net force on it equal to 0. I hope, students, you must have understood the Newton's first law of motion. This is all for today. Thank you so much.